The first of 30,000 additional troops are now being deployed in Afghanistan. The border between that country and Pakistan is one of the most hostile places in the world, a corridor for insurgents, a pipeline for the drug trade, and the possible hiding place for one Osama bin Laden. There's a group of soldiers whose task it is to secure and patrol this sensitive area. They're called the Strikers, as our embedded correspondent Karen Russo now reports.
It's a Sunday drive unlike any other.
Today we'll be going down to the border crossing point between Pakistan and Afghanistan.
At about 2:30 on a brisk winter afternoon, American forces leave their base in Kandahar province to patrol the Afghanistan side of the official border crossing at a place called Spin Boldak.
It's called Freedom Gate. It's a border crossing point. It's the second most heavily traveled and busiest crossing point between Pakistan and Afghanistan.
On the other side of the gate, an area that's a prime staging ground for insurgents.
It is home that we suspect to a number of Taliban leadership and cells, recruiting locations, particularly madrasas that recruit suicide bombers, IED facilitators.
They're the first American troops patrolling this chaotic, dusty stretch.
Nicholson, check the radio.
They are called the Strikers, with the 1st Cavalry Regiment deployed here from Fort Lewis, Washington for the last 5 months.
Between that 7-kilometer stretch, there's 1,000 different places where you can turn escort out.
Their mission is to stop fighters from crossing between the two countries and the flow of contraband that funds the insurgency.
All right, so we're going to walk through the rehearsal for Operation Red Roof.
The squadron has intelligence that suicide bombers have been using a local hotel to launch operations inside Kandahar.
If there is enemy in Objective Hotel, they're going to be prepared. They're going to be quite aware. They're in the vicinity, clearing through.
So back at the base, Captain Erik Aadland prepares his troops for a night mission.
Out on the cordon, it's necessary for you to explain to the people who are curious and who are coming up to the cordon why we're here, what we're doing. You know, we are here because the fighters are coming across the border, staying there, bringing bombs and IED making material that is not only blowing up American forces, but Afghan police and Afghan citizens.
What we're going to have to do is set up a LZ on the move.
Once on the scene, Aadland has to assist the Afghan border police from the sidelines.
Tell them to come out and I'll give them my flashlight. Here. There you go.
For this mission, American troops are not allowed to enter the building. It's frustrating for Aadland, who says the rules can be more restrictive here than they were in Iraq. Ideally, you would be
right behind them, taking them in, clearing rooms with them so we know that they're doing it orderly fashion. Hopefully they'll find something, we'll give them an opportunity to go through and work from there. It just takes a little patience. But it's okay, that's why we're here, help them do their job. So.
While Aadland's troops conduct biometrics on some suspected insurgents, eventually the Afghan police find what they were looking for.
They found identification cards and passports of a guy we're looking for, one of the mid-level drug traffickers for the area. So we know that he's frequented this particular location.
The Strikers have to patrol a nearly 300-mile-long border. In these mountains and valleys, there are an infinite number of spots for insurgents to cross. We're on the Afghanistan-Pakistan border here, where the troops set up observation posts on a regular basis. They're looking to see who's going back and forth across the border illegally, and also who's possibly bringing IED materials into Afghanistan. They do the best they can.
We have multiple sources that indicate that the Taliban use the ridge lines, and on the ridge lines, because they're dominant and harder for us to get to, they build the IEDs there.
American troops try to build local relationships. Most Afghans in this region care more about fresh water than they do about security issues.
Do you guys get more water?
But the Taliban is watching.
Of course, when we did the project, they were happy, that we were giving them money to help them out. And then when we got done, they pretty much said, "Thanks for giving us money. We never want to see you again here in the village. Don't patrol."
Well, a lot of the populations up here are under pressure from the Taliban. Sometimes you have to be careful because if they're seen to be working too closely with us, they'll, be under some threat.
This is the village of Loey Corez, another place where insurgents prepare suicide attacks against Americans to the west.
I put money on the Taliban coming in and intimidating, especially since they're in such a strategic point.
As we walked through the village, I am asked to cover my face to respect the local customs.
So how you doing? Huh?
Soldiers interact with children, buy food in the bazaar, but still, it's frustrating.
We just don't have the combat power, the forces to stay there to convince the people that we will be there to provide the security for them. Nor does the government of Afghanistan have the forces down here to do that same thing as well.
They know that along this long and remote border, they can't stay very long in one place. And that when they leave, whatever inroads they've made could easily vanish. For Nightline, I'm Karen Russo in Spin Boldak, Afghanistan.
And of course, we extend our best wishes to those soldiers and all who serve during this holiday season. Our thanks to Karen Russo.